Okay, hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan and today I'm going to be talking about wedding planning during COVID, what that looks like for me, and then also just like my tips for wedding planning and how I'm planning my wedding during this crazy time. So to start, I'll talk a little bit about like when I got engaged and what I've been doing since then. So Will and I got engaged in March, and that is really when the world took a turn and everything really started to shut down in the US. I think we got engaged on a Sunday, and then the next day I had clinical in the hospital for labor and delivery, and then the next day I was supposed to have another one, and then by Tuesday it was canceled. They pulled us out of the hospital and we went to Zoom University, as I like to call it. And so that was a crazy time, and it's crazy to think about how naive I was and so many people were, because I remember that the school said you will have this week off and spring break and you will come back April 1st. And it's just so crazy to even think about that, because look at where we are now. We are in October, still doing Zoom, and luckily they let us back in the hospital, thank goodness. But that's just, it's so crazy to think about. So going back to my mindset then, I was like, okay, like let's get this planned. I'm excited. And I never was in a rush to plan, but when I called my first venue, they said, just so you know, all of our dates, we wanted to get married in July, next July. They were like, all of our dates in July, the Saturdays are taken. And I was like, already? Like, oh my gosh, like we have to get on this. And so we ended up taking a Sunday because that's all they had. And it's cheaper on Sunday, so it worked out. But that was crazy to realize. So once I realized that, I was like, okay, I really need to start booking. So I think from like March to May, I just booked everything. I booked our venue, I booked our catering, I booked the DJ, floral, photo and video. I mean, like anything you can think of that needs to be scheduled, I booked it. And I think that's most important right now for brides that are scheduling their weddings right now, is to book everything now. Like once you're engaged, like start researching and start booking, because so many brides are changing their plans and rescheduling to later dates, and that just pushes things out so much more, and things get taken up. I mean, I had to contact like 3 or 4 florists, because with floral, a lot of them only do one wedding a weekend because it's so much work to set up a whole entire wedding with floral, and so they can only take one a weekend. And so if you think about that, like they're only taking 4 weddings per month, and so that was pretty crazy to think about. And yeah, so that's kind of where I've been at. I have everything booked and I am just crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. I'll talk about more later what our other options are, but that's just kind of where we are right now. So jumping into the tips, I wrote them down because I wanted to make sure I said everything that I needed to say. So tip number 1, and this is just in general, but with COVID too, is the first step in wedding planning that I learned is to establish your budget, establish your date, and establish your guest count, because everything revolves around that, especially your budget. And let me tell you, weddings are so expensive. Will and I's original budget that we thought would be enough, it has doubled from that. So we started with a number that we thought sounded good and reasonable, and then we started getting quotes from businesses and catering companies and everything, and we were like, wow, this adds up really fast. And yeah, so our budget doubled, so keep that in mind. Weddings are expensive, and it's not to say like, it's crazy because we're not even being extravagant. It's really just how much things cost, especially if you want a bigger wedding. And so that kind of stinks, but it's just the reality. When you have big families and with the guest count growing higher and higher, it gets more and more expensive. It's just pretty crazy. And so after you've done that, the second tip is to start researching your venues and scheduling tours. Luckily in March, they did let us come see the venue because it was outdoors, and we were able to walk the grounds and just look and see what everything looks like. But that might not be the case now. And so what I saw other venues doing was they did like video tours of in a whole entire venue, and they did like a walkthrough and you could watch a YouTube video. So I mean, it's not the same, but it's better. Number 3 that I have is decide whether or not you want to use a wedding planner. Now, this was a hard one for me because I am very type A. Like, I want to plan everything myself. I want to do everything myself. And that's just what the conclusion that I came to would be best for me, but that is definitely not the case for everyone. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I just need everyone or someone to plan everything for me. And I totally get that. Another thing to factor in is the cost. Wedding planners are really expensive, usually in the thousands, and that's just not something that we can afford. And so I was like, well, I will plan this wedding myself then. Another thing though is we are having a day of coordinator, which I think truly everyone needs, and that they are just the person that people can go to if something goes wrong, so they're not going to you personally. Like, you want to enjoy your day and you don't want to be the one stressed. If a blip happens, you don't even want to know about it. You want the wedding coordinator to just deal with it. So Dana from Pure Barre, she's an instructor there. She is actually going to be my day of coordinator, so I got her all booked. So whether you need a whole wedding planner or a wedding coordinator, you can just have your friend do it for you. It is up to you, but I think that is a really important step. A couple things that I have found that are so helpful is the Knot website. And that is a website where you can make your own wedding website, and I'm gonna include some pictures to show you guys, and you can put your budget calculator in. This is probably the most helpful feature because you put your budget at the top and then it lists everything down, like your dress, your venue, catering, and you list your estimated cost and you list your actual cost. And this has been the best thing. Love it. It's amazing, and it really just helps to keep you organized, especially when you're putting down all of your down payments and like money is flying around and you just need to have it organized. And that's another thing that's really important with COVID. I mean, it's important all the time, but especially with COVID, is when you're booking, look at your contracts and look when you can get your money back. How long do you have until you lose all of your money? Because especially with COVID and things changing, you just don't know what's going to happen, and you want to be able to have plenty of time to make your final decision on what you want to do. So another thing that I found off of Amazon, I actually got this because another girl showed me it on a YouTube video. It is this complete wedding planner guide. It is so cute. You open it up and it's like the wedding of Meghan and Will, and in here there's different tabs, and this helps you keep you organized too. There's like your wedding vision, fundamentals and timeline, guest planning, so like your guest list, venues and your vendors. You can put your contracts in here, the cost of everything, the decisions that you've made, and then finally there is just our wedding day, and like there's different like things for like photography lists, music choices, an itinerary that you can fill in. It's really awesome. It's from Amazon. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested. But yeah, I really like it. It's really cute. It's something fun. Okay, so my other tip that goes along with those two is to create a vision board. Pinterest is just the easiest, and really get an idea of what you want. And that can change too. Like, I had Pinterest since I was like in middle school, and I look back at the things I pinned and I was like, oh my gosh, no, absolutely not. Times have changed. And so I created a whole new wedding Pinterest board and just started putting everything, like the floral, what signage I wanted, dresses, really everything. Like, just plan out what your dream wedding looks like in your head, because when you go to meet with florists, they're going to say, what do you want? Like, what does your dream wedding look like? What kind of flowers do you like? What ideas do you have? And you can just link them your Pinterest and they can go look at it. And that has been so helpful to me. And there's just such good ideas on Pinterest. Like, I have gotten so many ideas, and just keep pinning things and start now, because you're not going to feel rushed when it gets closer to the wedding. So start now, start gathering your ideas, see what you like, what you don't like, and you don't have to do everything on there. It just gives you a bunch of ideas. My last and final tip is to just keep an open mind. The world is so crazy right now. It's devastating what has happened this year, and it's ever changing. And so Will and I have really kept an open mind, and we have even talked about what is it going to look like if we don't have our big wedding and we just do like a small elopement. Nothing is off the table at this point. And it's sad to think about because when I was younger, like I've always dreamed of having my dream wedding, but that's just not the reality right now. And also I feel like it's so important, like don't lose sight of like what this whole big party is for. Like at the end of the day, Will and I just want to get married. I don't care if it's in our backyard, where it is. I'm just excited to get married and start our lives together. So really keep focus on that, and that's what I've been doing throughout this whole year. It's been so hard, but just planning my wedding with Will has been my happy thing of the year. Okay, I'm so sorry guys, right as I was filming the outro my camera died. But this concludes this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. If there's any future brides that are like, oh my gosh, where do I even start with COVID? Comment down below if anyone has any other tips that they'd like to add or some advice. I hope to make some more wedding planning videos. Will and I still have to go taste test all of our food and the cake, and there's still a lot to be done, so I think it'd be fun to just keep documenting this time in our life. Oh, I also just scheduled my wedding dress appointment down in Portland for December, so I definitely want to bring you guys along for that. I have a lot of fun ideas coming up. If you guys have anything you want to see, please comment down below, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm really having so much fun filming and doing this for you guys. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been so supportive and shouting me out or just saying nice things. It's really hard, honestly, like being candid, to put yourself out there in front of a camera and let everyone see into your life. And I don't know, everyone's just been super nice and supportive, and yeah, so thank you guys. I hope you all have a great week, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video.